What is up, YouTube? It's been a while since I picked up the camera. Well, this is all previous. This is all during the Midoriya, but I promised you guys a video for this Blackwhip, and here I go. So I started with some scrap 10mm I had. I thought I needed 3D printing some pieces, but turns out 10mm is, well, if you get high density, it can hold a shape way better. But anyways, I made a prototype and then fixed all that with HD foam, cut all that out. Now, I wish I had at least black foam or white foam, not this gray foam, because it does show, well, it depends on what foam you use, but I ended up using this HD foam. But now we have this, I believe it's 5 foot or 3 foot, but it's an LED rope. It's white. So what I ended up using for this is, just to turn it teal, is teal window tint. Yeah, I'll explain it a lot more in these next clips, but all I did was wrap it with a bunch of Scotch tape and use clear packing tape. Now, I did the most jankiest setup for this. I did not solder nothing because I wanted to keep this simple, and it's also not big of a prop I want. I just wrapped it around the foam, and no one's gonna really see the inside because it's gonna be wrapped in clear foam.
This looks very janky, but it's all gonna be covered, so it's gonna be fine. So you power it up. Blackwhip! Yeah! Blackwhip! Alright, so I'm working on the Blackwhip. Yes, it's janky, but it's hard to tell, but there is the detail line, like the detail kind of pattern. I was running out of material, and then I unfortunately cut some of this very, very short. But I glue an excess piece, which you should do if you're ever gonna make this, is glue it bigger than the actual piece itself, but also make sure it fits. So I'm gonna have some a little bit overlapping. I'm actually fine with that because I'm gonna trim this up so it actually looks a little bit better and nicer. So yeah, if you're making this, make sure to do what I did. All right, so I trimmed it up a bit, and honestly, I really like it. Gonna probably context them in a little bit more because the super glue is kind of like soaking in a little bit. It's a little bit more exposed pieces, but probably gonna paint that black most often. But I'm not sure if you can tell if this can pick up my camera, but some of these edges are not cut exactly. I did that on purpose because I thought it would make it a little great three-dimensional shape. But right now, this is how it's looking. So this foam piece right here, I'm gonna paint it all in black first, so that because the Blackwhip does actually have black, and then the edges light up teal. So we're gonna focus on this.
Now we start over with the template, and this is some packing foam, not Plastizote foam, which is way better and will diffuse the light a little bit more better. But this is what I had on hand during the time, and I just used contact cement, as you can see, using the old glue pot, waiting for these to dry. And now, as you can see, I left a lot of excess. That way I can just cut it out, and it's not a hassle just to glue each piece precisely. And also wear a respirator and use this in a well-ventilated area.
These are mostly glued, but it's gonna be difficult. But slow and steady wins this race here.
Now, as we get into this, make sure to go as slow as possible as you can. Since this is a clear foam, the contact cement will be shown if you do a little bit of the edges. But since the cameras are really not going to pick it up, you can get away with it. And as you can see, this one's very oversized. Jeez, it's been a while since I actually looked at these photos or these videos. But anyways, we're just gluing on the edges, make sure they're all, pressed together. And it doesn't really mind if it's a wrinkle or not. It's Blackwhip. You can be as janky or as wrinkly as you want for Blackwhip.
Here you see, we have the second one on. Let's finish this. Got all of these put in. This is looking pretty snazzy. We're gonna take this kind of sponge brush. Let's just paint over. Now in the light, in this camera, you can see where the foam is at, but in person, it's very hard to tell where it's at. So just follow these edges here. It doesn't have to be perfect, as long as the middle part and the foam pieces are covered, and as long as these edges glow, we should have a nice finished product of Blackwhip. All right. So we have one part of the Air Force gloves. Blackwhip is done drying. Simple paint job, nothing too crazy. Might add a little bit more black, but let's turn it on, see how she looks. Here we go. Oh, now it's much brighter in the camera than it is actually in person, but this is Black Whip on Midoriya. So I could do. So I'm probably gonna mount this battery pack in my forearm. I'm probably gonna fix this cable because he does have a gauntlet, so I could probably just build it up in here, or I don't know, something. But this battery pack, or I might elongate the cable so that way it runs all the way down to my arm into the pouch or the belt, so that way this Black Whip can be powered on. It's Delaware Smash, Black Whip. I could do a lot of poses with this. This is actually pretty cool for a Black Whip.